answer questions that people have. You know why we had this debate? Because another tweet came in. Just when the country's talking about, you know, vaccines, no vaccines, 1 lakh people have registered, but they don't know when they'll get their vaccine. No allocation. States are fighting. Vaccine makers are wondering, which state do I give to? Where do I, get the vaccines from? Look at this. There's a tweet that came in from Rahul Gandhi on Covaxin, out of nowhere. He says, and I want Suhail to respond, and then I want the Congress party to come in on this. He says, Suhail, people's money was given to vaccine companies to develop COVID vaccines. Now Government of India will make same people pay the highest price in the world for these vaccines. Once again, the failed system fails our citizens for Modi Mitra's, I think Modi Mitra's profit. Now, he obviously, he tagged 2 articles, one that spoke about how what rate card does not show government help in developing Covaxin. And he tagged another article was public technology let free for private profiteering. Economists slam high pricing of Covaxin. Now, the Bharat Biotech chief has come in public and he said, when the outbreak happened, they asked for the strain so that they could develop a vaccine for India. And they've done that. And the same people the Congress party praised, Dr. Anthony Fauci. Dr. Fauci in America this morning is praising Covaxin, saying that it's fantastic and it's working against the 617 strain. Right? And in the evening, they put out quotes like this to put questions in the people's minds once again. I want Suhail Seth to come in and then the Congress party can respond.
So let me tell you where we are today. Rahul Gandhi has time and again proven his intellectual innocence and his complete distance from the ground realities of this country. But so have all politicians. With all due respect to every political party on this panel, ask the citizen today, the citizen who's grieving, the citizen who's in pain, from the Prime Minister to the Chief Minister to opposition leaders, everyone has fallen in general esteem and people are worried. So my advice to the politicians would be, rather than fight amongst yourselves and rather than say, who did what, the time now is to come together to heal this country and to actually provide solutions. We all know what the problems were. Some political party will blame the Prime Minister, blah, blah, blah. Someone will blame the Chief Minister. You won't go forward as a country. Let's take Rahul Gandhi's latest tweet as an example. What is that tweet finally going to do? It's not only going to raise doubts, Niranjan, as you rightly said. It is going to cast aspersions on our scientific bent of mind, on our scientists. It's going to cast an aspersion on the Herculean effort that vaccine companies in India are putting in. No matter what you might say, there is a time to be petulant. There is a time to be corny. There is a time to be, smart alecky. And then there's a time to be responsible. This is a time for responsibility. This is a time for gravitas. This is a time to understand and recognize the pain that every Indian is going through. And trust me, no matter what people might say, no matter what the BJP will say, what anyone will say, the Prime Minister's image has taken a knocking. Trust me when I say this to you, I have the highest of regard for him. I know he worked his way up, but it's taken a knock. And it will continue to take a knock if people do not follow some of the things that he earlier in March 2020 said. So, it's very easy also for all of us to say, oh, the Prime Minister is wrong, this person is wrong, that person is wrong. But for God's sake, are the politicians divorced from the reality of what is happening? We don't have crematoriums, for God's sake. We don't have oxygen in this country. We don't have medicines. Who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame the citizen? Are we in government? Have we been elected? You've been elected to run a country. If you can't run the country, then tell us you can't run the country. And when I say tell us you can't run the country, I'm including all political parties. Rahul Gandhi's party controls 3 states or 4 states in India. So people are equally culpable. But this is not the time to take pot shots at each other. The citizen who's out on the street, who's begging for oxygen, who's carting the dead body of a relative or a loved one in a car and can't find a hospital bed, does not want to see your fight. He wants to see you come together. He or she wants a solution. You know, it's fine for the Prime Minister to come on and say, oh, everything is fine. I know you will be disciplined. I'm sorry, we need much more than that. When this calamity was a minuscule, you locked the country down. Now don't unlock your responsibility. You have to lock in your responsibility as well. And my appeal is, this is not the issue qua the BJP or the TMC or the Congress. It is a national issue. It's an issue which should unite India. We've had enough of division. You want to fight, fight in parliament. You want to fight, fight on the streets. There is no point. There's no whataboutery. You did 110 rallies. I've done 300 rallies. Yes, hammam mein sab nange hain. So, by doing even one rally, if that one rally makes someone lose their loved one, is that rally worth it? When you won't have people alive, where will your voters come from? And please remember, this is not going to be forgotten. And to hell with what people say about coverage, non-coverage. That's a non sequitur. The bigger issue is, are we up to the task, either in government or not? My advice to the government, unsolicited as it is please start speaking more and defending less. Please tell us what the solutions are. I'm delighted in the manner that corporate India has come together and actually shown solutions. People will be happier seeing oxygen concentrators, oxygen cryogenic tankers land in India rather than pot shots between political parties. And my appeal also would be to the media that now enough is enough. As you very rightly, Niranjan and Republic is running this brilliant campaign about Stay Strong India. That India includes our politicians. They are not impervious to the pain, I'm sure. But the communication and the manner in which they communicate to the citizen, that now needs to change. This is an internal war that we are fighting against an enemy called COVID. That enemy recognizes no stature, no caste, no class, no creed. And I hate to say this, people in power have to be accountable because they are in power. So to believe that people in power will not be made accountable by the citizen, you're living in a utopian concept. And someone will have to take the knock. But this is not the time to drag them down. This is not the time for a Rahul Gandhi to continuously nag his way politically and say, this is wrong, this is wrong. I have not seen one goddamn solution from Rahul Gandhi, not one. I have not seen one helping hand other than his colleague, Srinivas, who's done a sterling job on the streets. Those are the people we need to salute. We know what the problem is. Some of us are responsible for the problem. You can't blame Narendra Modi if people are not masking, or Mamata Banerjee if people are not masking near Nakhoda Mosque in Bada Bazaar in Calcutta. The citizen is equally responsible. We take blame. I'm equally blameworthy for that if I've unmasked. But you can't blame everything on a Modi. And at the same time, you cannot deflect the blame from the Prime Minister or for people who are running the states. When the states wanted, as Nupur said, when the states wanted the liberty to declare a lockdown, the Prime Minister gave them that liberty. If you abuse that liberty, you can't put it back on the Prime Minister. But again, the Prime Minister must also recognize the states that are abusing that liberty must also be held accountable. Now, Maharashtra has done a superb job in terms of a turnaround. You should salute that. It would be amazingly gracious of the Prime Minister to actually talk about Maharashtra and say, look, these are the states that are doing well. As I said, and I will end my opening remarks with this, I have all the respect for our politicians for only one reason, that they are elected. And we are a democracy when I last checked. But this is the time to come together. This is the time to heal. But this is also the time for accountability. And not the time for irresponsible statements, either on Twitter or elsewhere. That's it.
Okay.